What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to part 2 of this short 2-part series within NBA 2K23's MyNBA mode, where we are re-simulating the careers of LeBron James and Michael Jordan to figure out who the greatest player of all time is, but with a twist, that their career paths have been swapped. LeBron James was inserted into the 1984 NBA draft class, while Michael Jordan has been placed into the 2003 NBA draft class. So we went through LeBron's entire career in the first part of this little mini-series. I'll leave a card at the top right of your screen in case you missed that video and you would like to check it out before coming back here. At the end of this video, we will compare LeBron and Michael Jordan's careers and we'll figure out who was better in the opposite player's era, essentially. So we're going to start in the 2003 NBA offseason with the draft lottery to see who wins the Michael Jordan sweepstakes. The Supersonics have the top odds for the #1 pick, but it ends up going to the Houston Rockets with the Supersonics coming in at 2. The Hawks, Pacers, and Kings also in the top 5. It's not necessarily a shoo-in, though, that Michael Jordan goes #1 because there's also Carmelo Anthony, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh. Very talented draft class, so there's no guarantee that the Rockets do pick MJ at #1. So let's see where Michael Jordan will be starting his NBA career. It will not be with the Rockets. They draft Carmelo Anthony with the top pick. How about that? And then sure enough, Michael Jordan will start as a Seattle Supersonic. He is the 2nd overall pick. So both LeBron and MJ are the #2 picks in their respective draft classes. At least future Hall of Famers went ahead, both of them. In the LeBron video, the Hawks have a #1 pick, and they chose Hakeem Olajuwon, and obviously the Bulls ended up picking LeBron. So here the Supersonics are acquiring Michael Jordan. Here are some of the moves around the league. The most notable thing is Allen Iverson leaving Detroit, where he just won a championship, and is signing with the New Jersey Nets. Throughout the LeBron career simulation, the Bulls never really did a good job of giving him talent. LeBron stayed on the Bulls for his entire 20-plus year career, and he never really had an all-star alongside him. But I don't think that's going to be an issue with Michael Jordan because Amari Stoudemire is on this team, entering the 2nd season of his career. They also have guys like Jamal Crawford, Earl Boykins, Eric Dampier. This is not a bad young core. I don't think this team is going to be great early on, but Michael Jordan and Amari Stoudemire should be a pretty fun duo. Gilbert Arenas ends up winning the MVP in just his 3rd season in the NBA with the Miami Heat. Shout out to Gun Gilly. Michael Jordan makes the All-Defensive 2nd team along with the All-Rookie 1st team. He did not win Rookie of the Year. That went to Dwayne Wade. MJ averaged around 23, 5, and 6 as the Supersonics do end up making the playoffs as the #7 seed. They'll be taking on the Denver Nuggets in the first round as a heavy underdog. Here is the Nuggets. They are led by Elton Brand, who was picked outside of a lottery for some reason. I don't really know why. And the Supersonics got swept. But overall, not a bad first season for Michael Jordan. The team exceeded expectations as the Pistons win a championship, despite the fact that they just lost Allen Iverson with Manu Ginobili winning the NBA Finals MVP. That'll bring us to the 2004 offseason. The Charlotte Bobcats have been added as the 30th and final team of the league. Their best player is Gary Trent Sr. They also have Matt Barnes and Leandro Barbosa. The Los Angeles Clippers ended up getting the #1 pick. They chose Dwight Howard. Other players in this class include Jameer Nelson, Andre Iguodala, Ben Gordon, and Anderson Varejao. Through free agency, nothing really notable happened. Steve Nash signed with the Heat. He's had a couple of championships in Portland. They've had a super team with guys like Nash, Dirk, and Tracy McGrady. Here are the new Supersonics. Stoudemire goes up 4, MJ goes up 5. The team finished as the #7 seed last year, but I have even higher expectations this year. Arenas wins the most valuable player once again, his 2nd in a row, and the Sonics go up to the 6th seed. So not a huge jump, but still a jump. Statistically, Michael Jordan actually went down here in year 2 just a little bit. His points did go up. His efficiency was, for the most part, really good, but he was not an all-star this year, which he was last year. In the first round, the Sonics will be going up against the Tim Duncan-led Spurs. He started his career with the Lakers before signing in San Antonio, and the Supersonics win the series. They will now face off against the Kevin Garnett-led Lakers. Garnett has won multiple most valuable players, and the Sonics somehow win in 5, and now they'll get a rematch with the Elton Brand-led Denver Nuggets. This is probably the worst team Seattle has faced so far here in these 2005 NBA playoffs. However, Denver wins the first 3 games, and they sweep them. So the Nuggets go to the finals against the Pistons, and this time the Nuggets get it done. Shout out to Elton Brand, leading the team to a championship. So that'll bring us to the 2005 NBA offseason. This was the Chris Paul draft, and he goes number 1, interestingly, to the Clippers. So Chris Paul joins the Clippers earlier than he did in real life, and he teams up with Dwight Howard. So it's like Lob City before Lob City. Pretty fun duo in LA. As for free agency, Kevin Garnett signs with the Celtics. I know, how ironic. He leaves the Lakers and signs with Boston, and then the Lakers sign Jason Kidd, and then Shaq signs with the Pistons. So all sort of craziness here in the 2005 offseason. Michael Jordan's now at 91, Stoudemire's at 90. At this point, Michael Jordan's better than LeBron at this stage of their careers in the year of 2005. LeBron was still declining at this point. Gilbert Arenas wins a 3rd consecutive MVP, and Michael Jordan wins the most improved player, averaging nearly 30 points a game, taking that big year 3 leap. He ends up being the other guard on the All-NBA first team as the Supersonics finishes the 1 seed and will be going up against the Chauncey Billups-led Memphis Grizzlies. They also have Richard Jefferson, who has coming off a breakout year. They have Eddie Jones. They have the White Mamba, so now I know we're going to lose. They also have Zydrunas Ilgauskas as well, but the Supersonics win in 6 and will get a rematch with the Denver Nuggets, who have eliminated Seattle 2 years in a row. They don't have Elton Brand anymore, so Tyson Chandler is now leading the helm, and the Supersonics win in 5. So now it'll be the Jason Richardson-led Utah Jazz in the conference finals. They also have former number 1 overall pick Caron Butler. Pretty close start, 3-1, and now the Supersonics are going back to the finals to face off against the Detroit Pistons, who have built up a mini dynasty here in the early 2000s with Kenyon Martin, Manu Ginobili, and now Shaquille O'Neal. So the Supersonics had their hands full here against Detroit. Pretty competitive series so far. However, the Pistons now lead 3-1. Can the Supersonics come back here in MJ's first NBA Finals? They will in Game 5. How about in Game 6? Michael Jordan never lost an NBA championship in real life. However, in this sim, he will, as he loses his first NBA Finals appearance. The Pistons win in 6, and Manu Ginobili wins the Finals MVP. Ginobili's been even better here than he was in real life. In the 2006 class, Rajon Rondo goes number 1 to the Warriors. Andrea Bargnani's a 79. Kyle Lowry is a Bull. LaMarcus Aldridge is a Wizard. And Rudy Gay is a King. As for free agency, Dirk goes back to the Clippers. I think he was already there at one point. Tracy McGrady plays for the Orlando Magic. It's funny seeing all these players who played on these actual teams in real life. Melo to the Suns, Wade to the Blazers. That's about it. Michael Jordan now 94 overall. He has passed Amari Stoudemire. He's one of the highest rated players in the league. He's also in the final year of his contract, though. He's going to be a restricted free agent. Got to assume the Supersonics are going to look to re-sign him long term. They just paid Amari Stoudemire big money for the next 3 years, so he's not going anywhere. Arenas wins the MVP. The Supersonics are the 1 seed, facing off against the Carmelo Anthony and Marcus Camby-led Phoenix Suns. Not a bad team for an 8 seed. But the Supersonics win, and look who it is in the second round, the Denver Nuggets, who now have Jamal Crawford. They now have Zydrunas Ilgauskas. They still have Tyson Chandler, but the Supersonics sweep and will be facing off against Steven Jackson, Tim Duncan, and the Spurs here in the conference finals. Their guards are a little bit weak. They only have 75 overall. Boobie Gibson at point guard. The Sonics win game 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. The Supersonics have only lost 1 game in the entire playoffs. So that'll bring MJ to his second NBA Finals against a loaded Indiana Pacers team. Look at their lineup. They've got such a great young nucleus. At the point, 25-year-old Tony Parker. At the 2, a very young Andre Iguodala, who's only been in the league 3 years and is just 23 years old. At the 3, their best player, Shawn Marion, who's in the prime of his career. At the 4, they have Chris Bosh. And at the 5, for now, they have Chris Kaman. But this team also has a currently injured Yao Ming, who will probably be back by Game 2. Seattle takes Game 1 and 2. This is surprising me. I think the Pacers are way better than the Supersonics, but it is a 3-1 series at the moment, and Michael Jordan is very close to winning his first NBA championship. However, it does not look like it'll happen in Game 5. The Indiana Pacers blow the door off of the Supersonics, winning by 32 points. So that'll bring us to a pivotal Game 6 in Indiana. Can the Sonics close it out here? They've already experienced the closeout game. It didn't happen. Now they get another chance. This is a really close matchup. Tied at 98 with 1 minute and 54 to go. We're going to hop in and watch. So as soon as I hopped into the game, I noticed something was immediately off. Michael Jordan's not on the floor. So I wanted to see if he had played at all today, and he is not. So that leaves me to believe that Michael Jordan is currently injured, and it's up to pretty much Amari Stoudemire to carry the Sonics against this super team. It's only a 1-point game, though. The Pacers lead into the hands of Stoudemire, who draws the double team. That means somebody's going to be open in the corner. It's Westbrook who misses the three. Following possession for Indiana. The layup is good. When the Martians point the death beam, who do you want taking the shot? I want Iguodala. 3-point game. Back to Stoudemire. He draws the double team again. Stoudemire's shot, no good. I get that he's the guy who you want shooting in that situation, but you got to pass it out. Somebody's going to be open. On the other end, Iguodala with the slam, and the Pacers are up by 5. Not looking good here for the Supersonics late in this one as Earl Boykin sends it inside back to Stoudemire, and his shot will not fall off the glass, and that's pretty much how this game ends. Indiana would win Game 6. That'll bring us to Game 7. The Supersonics are in danger of blowing a 3-1 lead without Michael Jordan, who broke his wrist back in Game 1 of the finals. As for Yao Ming, he just came back in Game 6, so it wasn't Game 2. I was wrong. But Yao Ming is healthy, Michael Jordan is not, yet the Supersonics are making it close. It's a 1-point game with 2 minutes to go. We're going to hop in. Tony Parker makes the floater, and the Pacers are up. Can Amari Stoudemire, essentially on his own, beat this all-star team that the Pacers have assembled without Yao Ming on the floor as Stoudemire hits the hook shot, and the Supersonics are up by 1. If Seattle had actually made the finals, like, at this stage of the NBA, would they have ended up moving to Oklahoma City? I would have to think no, right? Because that's still going to be a thing here. They're still going to move to OKC soon. Tony Parker misses the 3. The Supersonics lead by 1 on the other end. Here's Stoudemire looking to make a play. His shot no good. Grabs his own rebound and gets the putback. Amari Stoudemire is killing it right now for the Supersonics. 24 seconds to go. Here's Parker inside. Makes the bucket. Draws the foul. It's an and 1 with Earl Boykins called for the foul. And Tony Parker can tie the game with a 3 throw, which he does. 20.9 seconds left. Tied up in Game 7 of the finals. Can the Supersonics win it in regulation? What's the plan here? They've got to dribble out the clock. They cannot let the Pacers get another shot off no matter what. That's exactly what they're going to do. Boykins is dribbling it out. Got to assume they're going to look for Amari Stoudemire soon. Stoudemire gets the screen. Goes inside. Here's Stoudemire, tightly guarded by Bosch. Time winding down. Backs up. Pump fake. Heaves it up for the win. It's good! Amari Stoudemire has just won the NBA Finals for the Supersonics. And thus, Michael Jordan has won his first NBA championship, although this is as much of a Mickey Mouse ring as it gets for Michael Jordan specifically. Amari Stoudemire pretty much single-handedly carried the Supersonics throughout the NBA Finals, beating this loaded Pacers team. Obviously, Stoudemire is going to win the Finals MVP. He dominated, hitting the game winner in Game 7. But nonetheless, Michael Jordan is an NBA champ, and he was the best player on this team up until the Finals, so you still absolutely got to hand him his flowers there. In 2007, that's when LeBron James ended up retiring from the Bulls, so he is now out of the league, and it's Michael's time to shine. Greg Oden is still the #1 overall pick to the Warriors. Kevin Durant ends up at 2 to the Hawks. Other players here include Al Horford to the Nets, Mike Conley to the Kings, Yi Jianlian is there as well. So Michael Jordan's a restricted free agent. The Heat are currently the top bid. I got to assume the Sonics are going to match it. Nope! The Supersonics would not match Miami's offer. So Michael Jordan, in the famous words of LeBron James, is going to take his talents to South Beach and join the Miami Heat. And if you remember, the Miami Heat have the now 3, 4, I don't know how many MVPs he's won, but they have Gilbert Arenas. So Michael Jordan pairs up with Gun Gilly. The rest of this team is pretty bad, but they have 4-time MVP Gilbert Arenas, and in the backcourt with him, they have a guy named Michael Jordan. Side note, I noticed that Michael Jordan was 22 here. He was 22 when he got drafted, so I changed that to 26. I noticed his age wasn't consistently changing. I don't know why it was doing that, but I ended up fixing it. So the Miami Heat last year won 60 games. They are the #1 seed in the Eastern Conference. The only team with a better record than them, the Seattle Supersonics, who now are just Amari Stoudemire. I feel bad for Amari, although he does have a Finals MVP, so I don't feel too bad. So the Heat now have MJ and Arenas in the same backcourt. Gilbert Arenas still wins the MVP. His numbers are a little bit lower, but he is the clear, unquestioned #1 option over Michael Jordan, who still had a great season making the All-NBA second team. The Heat are the number 1 seed going up against the Bobcats in the first round with Kyle Korver and Lamar Odom, but not a great team. The Heat should have no problem here, and they sweep them, going up against the Pistons here in the second round. Not necessarily the Allen Iverson Pistons of the early 2000s, but they now have Darren Williams. They still have Manu Ginobili. They still have Kenyon Martin. They still have Shaq. This is still a really dangerous team, and the Pistons made this a very competitive series, but the Heat win in 7, going up against the Celtics in the conference finals, who have a 69 overall rookie at point guard. They also have Kevin Garnett as well, who has regressed a little bit, but is still very good. However, the Heat are going to march through, winning in 5, going to the NBA Finals against the Los Angeles Clippers. This was the Chris Paul, Dwight Howard team, but they don't have Dwight Howard anymore. It's Chris Paul, Dirk, JJ Redick, and Big Z. Ironic that Chris Paul and JJ Redick are here a little bit earlier than they were on the Clippers in real life. This is a good team. I think it could be tough here for the Heat, and it's been a very competitive series so far. The Heat win Game 5. So now MJ is possibly 1 win away from winning his 2nd NBA title, tying LeBron in terms of championships. Won't happen in Game 6. Maybe in Game 7. Can Michael Jordan get the job done with his new team? Very close game here. The Clippers seem to be taking control late. However, it's now a 3-point game with 40 seconds to go. I accidentally kept simulating farther, so now it's a 1-point game with 3 seconds. So we're going to hop in and see what happens. The Clippers are inbounding the ball, so the Heat have to go for the steal or the quick foul pretty much. Who are they going to get in the hands of? They have a lot of good free-throw shooters, and ultimately it's JJ Redick, who is fouled by Little. So Redick will go to the line. First one sinks it. Now it is a 2-point Clipper lead, and the second one is also good. So the Heat are going to call a timeout. They need a 3-pointer to tie it. Who do you want shooting the ball here? Gilbert Arenas or Michael Jordan? This is the moment that MJ was made for, and a real opportunity to make a name for himself here in the 5th season of his career. But on the flip side, Arenas is the better 3-point shooter. Arenas is the better player, so I would assume he is your closer. All right, here's the inbound. It's Best on the baseline. He sends it to Michael Jeffrey Jordan. Oh, he missed the shot. Michael Jordan missed the corner 3. And there you go. The Clippers win the NBA Finals. So you know this simulation is unrealistic because Chris Paul now has a championship. MJ was great throughout the finals, but he missed the game-tying shot. And Michael Jordan is now 1-2 all-time in the NBA Finals. So the Supersonics are done. They have relocated to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Poor Amari. All right, that'll bring us to the 2008 draft. This was the Derrick Rose year. He goes to the Raptors. Kevin Love to the Magic. Brook Lopez to the Nets, ironically. Russ is a Warrior. Eric Gordon to the Hornets. Danilo Gallinari to the Trailblazers. As for free agency, a lot of big names in there. Looks like both MJ and Gilbert Arenas have 3 more years left on their deal, so they're locked up for a while. Kobe signed with the Bobcats, and KG signed with the Mavericks. MJ and Gilbert Arenas both go down 1. I wouldn't really worry about it too much. They're both in their mid to high 20s, so this is pretty much their prime. I don't think they're going to start to regress too much. Maybe in 3 or 4 years that'll change. So for this season, Arenas would not win the MVP. Instead, it's Carmelo Anthony of the Phoenix Suns. Michael Jordan makes the All-NBA first team. It seems like he had a better season than Gilbert Arenas as the Heat end up as the number 1 seed. Arenas was still very good, not to take anything away from him. The opponent here is the Orlando Magic with Tracy McGrady, an old Penny Hardaway, who has a couple MVPs, I believe, rookie Kevin Love, Andrew Bogut, and Jamal Mashburn, who's also older but still quite good. And the Heat win in 6. Not easy. So now they go up against the Indiana Pacers, and this is not exactly the same Pacers team from a few years ago. They still have Yao Ming, Chris Bosh, and Tony Parker, but they're not as good as they were when they took on the Sonics in the finals, and the Heat sweep them, going up against the Pistons here in the conference finals. They still have Manu, they still have Martin, they still have Shaq, but the backcourt is a little bit questionable with Max Kerr and Royal Ivy. I don't think either of those guys are real. 2-1, 2-2, 3-2. Tied at 3 going into a Game 7. Can Michael Jordan make it back to his 4th straight NBA Finals? Yes, he will. LeBron only made it to the Finals 4 times in his entire career, and MJ's made it 4 years in a row going up against the Houston Rockets with Rip Hamilton. They also have Antonio McDyess at the 4, and Michael Jordan's kryptonite, Elton Brand at the 5. It seems like Elton Brand always beats Michael Jordan in these playoff series. They do have a bad backcourt, though, and the Heat would exploit that. Currently up 3-0. They're dominating in Game 4, so it looks like Miami's going to get the clean sweep. And there you go. Michael Jordan wins his 2nd NBA championship, and he wins the Finals MVP over Gilbert Arenas. So MJ now is the same amount of range as LeBron as we go to the 2009 draft. The Warriors pick James Harden, number 1, over Steph Curry, who is the Sacramento King. Blake Griffin goes to the Hawks. Ricky Rubio to the Bobcats. DeMar DeRozan goes to the Bulls, like 12 years early, but okay. Tariq Evans to the Grizzlies. As for free agency, Tracy McGrady is a Celtic. Dirk goes back to the Blazers, where he started his career, teaming up with Dwayne Wade and Sharif Abdul-Rahim. Dear Lord. Kenyon Martin is a Clipper. Magic Johnson Jr. is a Piston. Kevin Durant is a Celtic. A lot of big movements here in the 2009 offseason as Michael Jordan goes down 1 again. And I also, again, changed his age to 28. I don't know why his age wasn't changing throughout the thing, but oh well. He's always supposed to be 1 year older than Arenas. So Gilbert Arenas won the MVP again. I think that's like 6 or 7 at this point. That's 6. Yeah, he's won 6 NBA MVPs. His 1 championship is 1 non-MVP season. Michael Jordan joins Arenas on the All-NBA first team, and the Heat are once again the 1 seed, going up against a questionable Atlanta Hawks team with a rookie Blake Griffin and Andrea Bargnani, who's actually quite good, oddly enough. And the Heat lose in 7. So Andrea Bargnani leads the Hawks to win the series. The Suns beat the Celtics in the finals. Melo is a champ as we go to the 2010 draft. John Wall's the number 1 pick to the Bulls. Paul George is a Sixer. Boogie Cousins goes to the Warriors earlier than he did in real life. Gordon Hayward to OKC. Hassan Whiteside to, I think that was Milwaukee. As for free agency, Chris Paul is a Celtic. Paul Pierce is a Pacer. It looks like Jermaine O'Neal is a Clipper. And then look at this. Michael Jordan goes down 4, seemingly out of nowhere. He's also bald, by the way. I updated his player likeness. He's on the last year of his contract, as is Arenas. But this could be a cause for concern. Is Michael Jordan really regressing that quickly? Along with that, since we're in the 2010 season, we are now officially in the modern era, and we have now gone through all 4 eras through this 2-part series because we started in the 1980s when we kicked off LeBron's career. So here are the Heat, again, pretty much same old, same old. Their roster is still not great. I mean, they have Steve Novak starting at the 3, which is not what I would call ideal. So Melo ended up winning his 2nd MVP, and apparently he's on the Nuggets now. Again, I've seen so many players play for teams that they played for in real life. It's kind of cool. Gilbert Arenas only made the All-NBA 2nd team, so maybe he is starting to regress a little bit. His numbers went down a tiny bit, but he was still very good for the most part this season, and he also got a handsome 4-year extension, so he'll be sticking around. The Miami Heat had a guard make the All-NBA 3rd team, but it was not MJ. It was Kyle Lowry. Apparently, the Heat added Kyle Lowry to this team, and apparently Michael Jordan is now the 3rd option behind Gilbert and Lowry. Jordan's numbers went down a little bit, but not too bad. They all started, so I think what they did was have Lowry at the 1, Gilbert at the 2, and MJ at the 3. Going up against the Pistons here in the first round, very different to the teams of the 2000s. They also have rookie Boban, so that's cool. Their highest rated player is Magic Johnson Jr. Oh boy. So the Heat would end up winning in 6, going up against the Wizards, led by Chauncey Billups. This is a pretty questionable roster, not great for a 2 seed, and the Heat would expose them, winning in 5, going to the conference finals against the Boston Celtics with Tracy McGrady and Kevin Durant. The rest of the roster is a little bit questionable. They do have Manu Ginobili coming off the bench, though, so it could be a tough series. Pretty close start so far. The Heat lead 3-1, and they're going back to the finals against the Phoenix Suns. So the Suns lose Melo and go back to the finals, including former teammate of MJ and LeBron in Jamal Crawford. They also have Sean Marion, who played for the Suns in real life, and a very young Serge Ibaka. Very close series so far. The Suns lead 3-1 now. Not looking good for the Miami Heat. Looks like the Heat are probably going to take Game 5. Ooh, the Suns made it really close. They only ended up losing by 1. That'll bring us to Game 6. Phoenix leads the series 3-2. Miami is the lead late. They're going to get the job done. Can Miami come back down 3-1 and win another championship? Game 7 is very close. The Suns had control for most of it. The Heat are now up, so we're going to hop in. 105-106 with about a minute to go. Here's Gilbert Arenas off the screen for 3. No good, but the big fella puts it back in. Who is that? He might have just won Michael Jordan his 3rd NBA championship. 30 seconds later, it's a 1-point game. MJ is at the line getting MVP chance as he sinks both free throws to put the Miami Heat up by 3 with around 20 seconds to go. What do the Suns have planned here? Marion lobs it up for the big man. He gets it in. Phoenix cuts the lead to 1. They have Michael Jordan inbounding. Who gets the ball? Gotta be Arenas here, right? He gets it, but he passes it to Kyle Lowry. Lowry would make both. 3-point game again. Suns got to do something quick here. What's the plan here? Time is ticking. Ibaka with it. Shoots it for the tie, and no good. Rebounded by Jordan, and he is fouled with 3/10 of a second to go. We would sim out, and the Miami Heat win the championship 114-111. So there you go. Michael Jordan is now a 3-time NBA champ. He's 3-2 in the finals. He wins his second finals MVP, passing LeBron in terms of championships. He also would get a 4-year extension for his efforts, so he is sticking around in Miami for the long haul. In the 2011 draft, Kawhi goes number 1 to the Magic. Klay is a Hornet. Kyrie is a Pacer. Jimmy Butler is a Sixer. They've got a nice little core. Kemba Walker, I believe, is a Raptor. As for free agency, nobody signed Kyle Lowry, oddly enough. Pau Gasol is a Wizard. Chris Bosh is a Laker. And that's really it for the changes. Going into player progression, what happens here? MJ goes down 5. So this regression might be a real issue. I had a hypothesis here. I'm pretty sure the 2 seasons that he was 29 and 30 was when he retired from the NBA and played minor league baseball in 1994 and 1995. So my hypothesis is that the game made him regress for the 2 years he didn't play, and maybe he'll go back up once he's 31. We'll see if that ends up being true. Gilbert Arenas wins another MVP, I guess having to carry the team with Michael Jordan being like a lot worse. Obviously, Arenas makes the All-NBA first team. MJ, his numbers were pretty much the same as last year. His assist numbers actually went way up. He averaged 9 assists per game. In the first round, the Heat are taking on a young Pacers team with Kyrie, James Harden, and older Paul Pierce. They have Joakim Noah. They have Ian Mahinmi, just like real life. This is honestly a good team for a 7th seed, and they're going to be good for a while with Harden and Kyrie, but the Heat do win. Going up against the Cavs in the second round, this team is way worse than Indiana. Their best player is Devin Harris, yet it takes Miami 7 games. Now we've got the Celtics in the conference finals with Manu, KD, and Tracy McGrady, and they've added Kevin Love. That team is really good. So it could be a challenge for the Heat. They're looking good early, up 3-2, tied at 3, going into a Game 7. Who will play Utah in the finals? Boston has the lead, but the Heat are right in there, but they're never able to make a comeback. So the Celtics go to the finals against the Jazz. Boston wins it all. T-Mac wins another finals MVP. KD gets a ring. So the New Jersey Nets are now officially the Brooklyn Nets here in 2012. We're getting very close to real life. Will Michael Jordan make it to 2022? Anthony Davis is the number 1 pick to the Mavs. Harrison Barnes is a Net. Damian Lillard teams up with Kobe in Charlotte. Draymond Green is a Hawk. Chris Middleton is a Piston. He gets drafted there just like in real life. As for free agency, Stephen Curry is a Bull. Dear Lord. Derrick Rose is a Hornet. Russell Westbrook is a Warrior. James Harden went somewhere too. And it appears my MJ retirement hypothesis was wrong because he went down 4 at the age of 31. So, first of all, why is Danny Granger only a 77? That doesn't really make sense. This is a weird team. They've got a young Markieff Morris. They have Kendrick Perkins, Bojan Bogdanovic, Chandler Parsons. Very interesting roster. But clearly, Michael Jordan's going downhill. He is not going to go back up. He's going to continue to regress, and it seems like the Heat may have made a mistake by paying him. Kevin Durant wins the most valuable player with the Boston Celtics after he won the finals last year. Gilbert Arenas is still balling. He makes the All-NBA first team once again. The Heat are still the 2 seed, but MJ's numbers are declining with his lowest points per game of his entire career. Going up against the Bucks in the first round, they're led by this Cameron Howell guy along with Zebo and Brook Lopez, who's been on 4 different teams so far, including the Bucks in 2 different stints, yet Milwaukee wins. So the Heat are first rounded. Chris Paul wins another championship with the Mavericks. I think they have Kevin Garnett as well, beating the Celtics. The New Orleans Hornets are now the New Orleans Pelicans, and they've got a nice little core. D. Rose, Klay Thompson, Eric Gordon, Danilo Gallinari, Serge Ibaka. That's a nice team. In the 2013 draft, Giannis Antetokounmpo goes number 1 to the Timberwolves. Nerlens Noel drafted by the Sixers, just like in real life. Rudy Gobert is a Laker. And that's about it. This was a very non-deep draft class, although I'm surprised CJ McCollum was not a top 10 pick. Around the league, Melo is a Spur, Rondo is a Piston, Dwayne Wade is a Clipper. So, some odd changes. The Heat, I think, ironically signed Deshaun Stevenson, who famously, his draft comparison was Michael Jordan, who's now a 76, and he's not even the highest-rated shooting guard on the team. That's Kyle Korver. So Korver is now the starter in the backcourt. MJ is the 8th man off the bench. He has fallen off hard. LeBron never got worse than like an 85 overall, even when he was like 41. Yet MJ is falling off when he's 30, which is odd. Arenas makes the All-NBA first team again, dragging the Heat with Michael Jordan, who is cooked. I mean, he is washed. The Heat are still pretty good, taking on the Magic in the first round with Rudy Gay, Boogie Cousins, Rodney Stuckey, Eddie Curry. Not a bad team. And they win in 7. I don't really know how the Heat got the 2 seed, to be honest. What a carry job from Gilbert Arenas. So the Charlotte Bobcats are now the Charlotte Hornets, and they have Kobe and Dwayne Wade. That's a fun duo. And ironically, Kobe gets to play for the Hornets. Isn't that funny? In the 2014 draft, Nikola Jokic goes number 1 to the Clippers. Jabari is a Warrior. Saric is a Spur. Joel Embiid is a Wizard. Aaron Gordon is a Piston, Rodney Hood is a Hawk, Zach LaVine is a Net, and Andrew Wiggins goes 8 to the Knicks. In free agency, Mike Conley is a Raptor, Yao Ming is a Bull, that's about it. In player progression, more like player regression, MJ's a 73, and he will be backed up by rookie Marcus Smart. They also have, ironically, Mario Chalmers, the former Heat, Rock Chalk. MJ is now the 9th man off the bench. He has even less of a role this year with the Miami Heat. He is still cooked. The Heat didn't even make the playoffs. They were terrible, winning just 35 games. And looking at MJ's stats, he went down again. He's on the last year of his deal. I think the Heat really regret paying him that extension. And I'd be surprised if Michael Jordan gets signed. The Celtics win another championship. Kevin Durant has built up quite the legacy there. In the 2015 draft, Kristaps is a Hawk. Cat is a Pacer. Booker is a Timberwolf. Miles Turner is a Sun. Rondae Hollis-Jefferson went in the top 10 for no reason at all. So MJ is a free agent. He would stay a free agent through all of free agency. So he does not get picked up by anybody in the offseason. And he did not get picked up by anybody in season, which is not a surprise. He's only a 70 overall. He's just not good. In the 2016 offseason, 1 year later, Michael Jordan would retire. He did not end up signing anywhere, so he finishes his career with the Heat. So a very interesting career for MJ. He started with the Supersonics. He won a championship, albeit he was injured during the finals. He then joined the Heat, where he was the second option behind Gilbert Arenas, winning 2 championships, going 3-2 in his career in the finals. LeBron, keep in mind, went 2-2. MJ finishes with around 21,000 career points. He was certainly not as good as he was in real life. I think that's pretty fair to say. He was still a 7-time All-Star, first-team All-NBA 3 times, first-team All-Defense 6 times. But he regressed hard. Once he got to be like 28, 29 years old, he fell. And he was never an MVP. He was never the best player in the league. He is a Hall of Famer and does get his number retired by the Heat. But he was never a truly elite player. Let's compare that to LeBron, who had a very different career. LeBron was elite from the moment he stepped on the floor. And he dominated for the Chicago Bulls through the 80s, the 90s, and the early 2000s. 10-time MVP, 19-time All-Star, 6-time Defensive Player of the Year, 14-time All-NBA First Team. The numbers speak for themselves. However, he only won 2 championships, which is less than MJ. But in LeBron's defense, his best teammate through his 20-something seasons in the league was Kenny Anderson. Whereas MJ got to play with Gilbert Arenas, who is arguably a top 3 player of all time. LeBron finishes with 51,000 career points, which is 30,000 more than Michael Jordan. Obviously, all of his career numbers are ahead of Michael Jordan, and if you see where he lines up, this is where he lined up when he retired, keep in mind. So this is as of like the 2007 season, so this is about 10 years behind. So these lists might be a little bit updated, but I assume LeBron is still at the very top of most of them. So LeBron obviously had the better individual career. Michael won more, but he was also on better teams with better players around him. So I'm going to put a straw poll in this description. Who do you think had the better career through this little career simulation? Was it LeBron James in Michael Jordan's era or Michael Jordan in LeBron's era? That'll wrap this up. I hope you guys enjoyed this little experiment. I know something a little bit different. I want to do some more stuff with the MyNBA eras. Let me know what you would like to see down below in the comment section. Make sure to like and subscribe if you have not already. Peace out.